Today, the car has become a symbol of freedom. But back in the mid-20th century, it was truly seen as a harbinger of danger. With the onset of mass motorization in the 1950s, the number of cars on the roads grew exponentially. Not only did their numbers increase, but so did their speed. All of this led to an unprecedented surge in road incidents with tragic outcomes. In the United States alone, about 456,000 people died on the roads during the 1950s. The road has practically turned into a front line of a bloody war. Buckle up and let's go. Enjoy watching. But what technical solutions made cars safer? Why does strong and heavy not mean safe? What about the experiment scared the church? Chevrolet? How did aviation help Volvo create some of the safest cars in the world? People started thinking about road safety after the very first accidents. It was the collision between Henry Wells' electric car and cyclist Elvin Thomas in New York on May 30th, 1896 that became the first officially recorded incident, a traffic accident with a casualty in the United States. And the first fatal accident happened in 1899 when a taxi hit a pedestrian, Henry Bliss. The real explosion in accident rates occurred during the era of mass motorization, which was started by companies from Detroit, especially Henry Ford. His Model T was produced in the millions. If in 1908 there were about 340,000 cars in the US, then by the early 1920s there were over 9 million, and by the end of the decade, more than 20 million. The reliability of the cars remained low. Brakes would fail, steering would malfunction, cars often veered off the road, hit pedestrians, and claimed the lives of drivers. At first, safety was handled by municipalities. They introduced speed limits, road signs, and guardrails. The first American car manufacturer to systematically address safety was Chevrolet, which in 1924 built the Milton Proving Ground. It was there, in 1934, that one of the first modern crash tests was conducted during the testing of the Chrysler Airflow. There were no crash test dummies back then, so engineers themselves sat behind the wheel and performed controlled collisions at low speeds. At that time, the prevailing belief was that only a strong and heavy body could guarantee safety. Cars were reinforced, but even though the vehicles remained intact, people inside them continued to die. The problem was that no one understood how the human body behaves during a crash. This gap began to be filled by Professor Lawrence Patrick, a biomechanic from Wayne University. He conducted hundreds of dangerous experiments, including on rocket sleds. Studying the limits of what the human body can endure. The tests also used the bodies of the deceased, which drew sharp criticism from the church. And later from animal rights activists, when animals started being used as well. Eventually, one of Patrick's students, Harold Mertz, created the standard crash test dummy, Hybrid 3, which is still in use today. Meanwhile, in Europe, Hungarian engineer Béla Barényi, working at Daimler, developed the concept of comprehensive passive safety. Its key element became the crumple zones, a rigid passenger compartment and deformable zones at the front and rear, which absorb the impact energy. These ideas were first fully implemented on the Mercedes-Benz W111 in 1959, making it one of the safest cars of its time. For Witera, afterwards, crumple zones became mandatory for all passenger cars. Another breakthrough was the three-point seatbelt. It was created in 1959 by Volvo engineer Niels Bohlin, who had previously worked in aviation on ejection seats. The seatbelt turned out to be simple, convenient, and extremely effective. Volvo made the patent open to everyone, and over time, three-point seatbelts became the global standard, reducing the risk of fatal injuries by almost 50%. Airbags have come a long way from unsuccessful experiments. From the 1950s to an effective system with pyrotechnic charges and impact sensors, which in 1967 was brought to practical use by engineer Alan Breed. Airbags appeared in production cars in the early 1970s and eventually became an integral part of passive safety. The widespread adoption of safety systems was accelerated by public protests in the United States during the 1960s, and by Ralph Nader's book, Unsafe at Any Speed. In response, the government introduced mandatory standards, and oversight was assigned to the NHTSA and AHSA. A striking example was the 2009 crash test, where the 1959 Chevrolet Bel Air stood no chance for the driver, while the modern Malibu ensured survival. Today, cars are equipped with numerous active safety systems, but the main factor remains the human being. Until driving is fully automated, the driver's responsibility remains the key to safety, because the best accident is the one that never happens.